So, what's the real job of a modern executive? It's probably not what you think. If you're trying to navigate the wild complexities of a director-level role, especially in a high-stakes world like security, you're going to need a new playbook. Think of this as your field manual.
All right, let's kick things off with a quote that's going to sound a little weird at first. I have no tangible deliverables. Now, this isn't a complaint. It's actually a huge realization about a fundamental shift in leadership. See, the higher you climb that ladder, the less your success is about what you do and way, way more about what you enable other people to do.
Okay, so that leads us to the big question, right? If your job isn't about cranking out your own personal deliverables, then what on earth are you supposed to be doing all day in those back-to-back meetings? What is the real work of a modern director?
All right, let's jump right in and tackle that head on. Section 1, the new executive mandate. Before you can even think about mastering the role, we've got to redefine what it's even for in today's world.
And here's the answer. The modern director is an organizational enabler. I want you to think of yourself as a force multiplier. Your main job is to clear the path, manage all those tricky relationships, and basically upgrade the entire system your teams are working in. Their success, that's your success. Your deliverable is creating an environment where other people can just crush it. But, becoming that organizational enabler isn't just a title change. It requires a pretty massive mental shift. It's all about moving from just watching over things to actually looking ahead. You're not just managing today, you're architecting tomorrow. And this slide, wow, it just lays it out perfectly. The old way of thinking, that was all about oversight, managing what's happening right now, putting out fires, reactive stuff. The new game is foresight. You're proactively shaping what's going to happen. It's a huge difference, right? You stop being a reviewer of the past and become an architect of the future. So, how do you actually do that? How do you build that foresight muscle? Well, it all starts with this foundation. First, you've got to build a culture of high trust, where people feel genuinely safe to take risks and innovate. Then, and this is key, you co-create a shared vision with your team. They have to be part of building it. And finally, you have to relentlessly connect what they do every single day back to the big why of the organization. That gives everything meaning. Okay, so you've got the mindset. You're thinking about the future. Awesome. But how do you actually put that into practice? Make it real? That's where this next part comes in. We're talking about the Strategic Leader's Toolkit. These are the tools that turn that big vision into something you can actually execute. Because, let's be honest, a vision without a solid plan, it's just a daydream. This 5-step framework right here, this is the bridge from idea to reality. You kick things off with really clear objectives, SMART goals. Then you get real with a SWOT analysis. What are your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? Once you know where you stand, then you can define your unique spot in the world. Set up your KPIs to track progress and build out those concrete action plans that actually bring the whole strategy to life.
But even with the best strategy in the world, there's this trap. And I bet this is going to sound familiar to a lot of you. Do you ever just feel completely buried by an endless avalanche of urgent tasks?
Well, this right here is your escape hatch. It's the classic Eisenhower Matrix. It's simple, but so powerful. It forces you to sort every single thing you do. Important and urgent? Okay, you got to do it. Urgent but not that important? Delegate it. Get it off your plate. Not urgent and not important? Just delete it. Get rid of it. But here's the secret from the lead director. You want to live right here in the schedule quadrant. This is where you protect your time for the important but not so urgent work. That's where strategy actually happens.
Okay, let's take all these ideas and apply them where the pressure is absolutely at its highest. Welcome to the Crucible, leadership in the world of global security. So the first major threat leaders are facing right now is just the mind-bending complexity of our world. Geopolitical stuff that happens halfway around the globe? Yeah, that now translates directly into cyber attacks on your company. And a single weak link in your global supply chain can trigger a total meltdown across your entire system.
And then there's this. Our adversaries are literally weaponizing technology against our own human minds. Generative AI can now create these crazy realistic deepfakes to impersonate executives. It's making social engineering attacks more believable, more sophisticated, and frankly, more terrifying than ever. The primary target is no longer just our systems, it's our people.
And just to make things fun, while you're battling all those threats from the outside, the pressure inside the building is ratcheting up. So many organizations are just drowning in this messy sprawl of different security tools. And after years of spending, you know what's happening? The board is finally knocking on the door, asking for a clear return on investment. The demand is clear: do more, but with less complexity.
And this chart, it perfectly captures that internal pressure. Look at the CIO. Their main focus is innovation, efficiency, ROI. Their job is to move fast and transform the business. Now look at the CISO. Their world is all about mitigating risk, protecting assets, and making sure the company is compliant. It's not that these goals are against each other, but they create this natural, constant tension. And the modern security director? You're the one who has to live in the middle of that, navigating and translating between these two worlds every single day.
So when the inevitable crisis hits, how do you possibly make clear-headed decisions when the pressure is immense? You need a mental model. And that's where the OODA loop comes in. This is a framework that was developed by military strategists for exactly this kind of high-stakes, chaotic environment.
It's a really simple four-step cycle: observe, orient, decide, and act. The whole goal is to cycle through this loop faster and more effectively than your adversary. But listen up, because this is the most important part. The most critical step, the one where everything is won or lost, is orient. It's not about who has the most data. It's about who can make sense of the chaos faster.
You know, all of these strategies, all these tools and mental models we've talked about, they're all driving toward one single ultimate goal. And it's not about being invincible, because you're not. It's about achieving true organizational resilience.
And let's be super clear about what we mean by resilience. It is not the absence of attacks. I'm going to say that again. You will be attacked. It's going to happen. Resilience is your proven ability to take a punch, get back up fast, learn from it, and adapt so you're even stronger for the next one.
So the big question is, how do you build it? Well, it comes down to this four-part strategy. First, you've got to foster a real culture of security, where every single person feels like they're part of the defense. Second, you build a technical framework on the idea of zero trust. Never trust, always verify. Third, and you can't skip this, you have to practice for a crisis with realistic drills. And fourth, you have to leverage AI to help you preempt threats and automate your response.
And that brings us to what might be the single most important takeaway from this entire playbook. Technology gives you the tools, for sure. But your ability to actually bounce back when things go wrong, that is fundamentally cultural. It lives and breathes with your people. And that means the most profound, most enduring job of any elite director is to be a builder of culture.
So, I want to leave you with one final question to think about. I want you to take a really honest look at your calendar, at how you spend your days. Does it look like the life of a firefighter, just constantly buried in the urgent, running from one fire to the next? Or does it reflect the deliberate, focused work of an architect who is carefully and strategically building a resilient future? The choice really is yours.